Hi everybody, Sean from Sheridan Nurseries here again, knee deep in my tree. Today we're going to talk about theme number 3, which is heavy level pruning for major damage areas. Some of the trees that we have in our yards has had some significant damage occur to it. What we've already covered in our first 2 sessions was assessing the situation and commencing cleanup. The second session, of course, was talking about light level pruning for aesthetic purposes. The goal of this session is to talk about level 3 or theme number 3, which is going to be heavy level pruning due to major damages. As you can see behind me, I've got a couple of sections of damage here on this tree where the branches have actually snapped off and stripped down bark in a vertical manner right off the tree. In order to ensure the viability of this tree and the aesthetic beauty, what we really need to do is we need to cut all the way down to this exposed wood. We want to make sure that we lop that entire section of the tree right off and seal it up to avoid any water or insect damage. But before I do that, I want to make sure I've got 3 things. Number 1, the right personal protective equipment. So I've got my safety glasses and my heavy duty gloves. And I've also got one of my favorite tools. Today I've got with me one of my heavy duty pruning saws. So with this pruning saw, it's going to allow me to do nice clean cuts. It's going to require minimal effort. And I'm going to get the job done a lot faster than if I had the poor tools or not the right tools at all. So before I go ahead and do this, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to prepare the area and get it ready for cutting. So now that I've got my area clear, I can go ahead and start cutting. First thing I did actually was I wanted to make sure that what I cut's not going to land on me. So funnily enough, I'm in a pretty safe spot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my sharp pruning saw and I'm going to start with a nice clean cut, just giving myself a bit of a guide, and I'm going to give it a bit of an angle. This is going to allow any water runoff or anything to come right off the tree and not actually go back into that hardwood again. But once again, of course, we always want to seal up these large cuts. Anything over the size of a pinky finger, we always recommend that you put some pruning paste over top of it. Take a look at theme number 2, where we talk about some tips and tricks to use pruning paste in the wintertime, especially the beeswax base, because we want to make sure that it's nice and malleable and ready to go. So I'm going to continue cutting this. And once we're finished, we'll check back in. Now that we've got our branch lopped right off using our sharp pruning saw, you can see there I've got a nice clean cut at the top. What I'm going to do, just like I did with my aesthetic pruning, is I'm going to take a liberal amount of our pruning paste. I'm going to paste it directly over top of the wound. Nice thick coating, anywhere between 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch. And I'm going to allow that to harden up and seal up. Once again, we want to avoid that water damage. We want to avoid those insect infestations. Once again, if you have any questions, any concerns, feel free to pop into any of our Sheridan Garden Centers. Speak with our horticultural professionals. They'll be able to help you out along the way. Once again, this is Sean Ewing for Sheridan Nurseries, wishing you some happy gardening.